Welcome, everybody. Today's session is a collaboration between Proclaim, Zimetrics, and OutSystems. Proclaim is the world's first and only custom-fit, fully automated oral care system. Zimetrics is a technology services and solutions provider focused on data, AI, and digital. And of course, they're one of our OutSystems partners. And OutSystems, we're the leader in low-code, high-performance application development. So we're glad you're all here and able to join us. And our hope today is that as we share this information, it's somehow helpful to you and your teams, whether you're building core systems, extending your core systems, modernizing your legacy applications, creating pixel perfect apps, or in the case that we'll be discussing today, orchestrating a really complex enterprise architecture with a lot of integrations. So, what better way to learn about this than with someone who's already done it? And by the way, done it very well. So we'll learn how Proclaim was able to roll out a really complex set of requirements on a condensed timeline with the assistance from, again, our OutSystems partner, Zimetrics. So from an agenda perspective today, we'll start off and we'll hear from Proclaim about some of the business context. What business problems were they trying to solve and why? Why were those important to them? What were their key drivers? And we'll hear some of the challenges they faced and how they addressed them. And then from Zimetrics, we'll hear from them on the process that they went through to be able to deliver what Proclaim required. Again, some of the challenges they faced around scope and complexity, and we'll actually get to see what the final solution looked like. And then finally, we'll come back to Proclaim and hear about the business impact, what they actually learned from the process, and see if they have any advice from, for others that might be going on a similar journey. So by ways of introduction, the people we have with us today, my name is Scott Jones. I'm one of the partner managers here at OutSystems. And joining me today from Proclaim is Brent Goldstein. Brent was in the middle of it all, right? He's their VP of engineering. And then from Zimetrics, we'll hear from Kiran Kambave, who's their SVP of engineering, and Joshua Salima, who is their tech lead. So Brent, first off, thank you on the behalf of OutSystems. Thank you for being a customer. We're super happy to have you, and thank you for joining us today. So Brent, for those who are watching who aren't aware, why don't you tell us a little bit about Proclaim first, and then if you wouldn't mind sharing like what this initiative was, why it was important to Proclaim, the problems you're trying to solve, challenges, unique requirements, etc.
Thanks, Scott. At Proclaim, we really do have a truly unique set of customer engagement and product purchasing requirements. In addition to a typical e-commerce flow where consumers can select products from an in-stock inventory, our solution includes an industry-first 3D printed oral jet mouthpiece that is designed to match a person's specific oral anatomy. To accomplish this, we've integrated traditional e-commerce with our dental practice web portal, which enables a patient's dental scans to be uploaded and then sent to our dental design team and finally to our 3D manufacturing lines. When I started with Proclaim, it's a pre-revenue startup, I was tasked to build out these systems in less than 1 year in preparation for product launch. Partnering with Zimetrics, we determined that OutSystems was the right platform for us to quickly build out these capabilities and meet our health data management and data privacy requirements. Now, I can confidently say that our strategy did pay off. We launched on time and have since shown that our architecture is very stable and also very extensible, meeting the rapidly changing needs of our high-growth company.
Wow, thanks, Brent. That was very, very helpful. Given how unique your business requirements are, I really sort of understand now why you didn't, or actually you really couldn't go with an off-the-shelf type of a commercial solution. It wouldn't have met your needs, So I know that it sounds like your business is so unique and complex, actually, that so your software had to flex with that. So that's nice to see. All right, so we'll go to Kiran now. So Kiran, given the background and those parameters that Brent kind of just laid out, it'd be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting to see the solution that Zimetrics put forth. But I think before that, it would be even more interesting to kind of walk us through that decision-making process on how Zimetrics landed on the final solution. Like, I know that you didn't just implement a solution. There were steps you went to get to that. So if you could kind of walk us through what those steps were, that would be appreciated.
Sure, Scott. Thank you. So, for the good part was this was like a greenfield product that we were implementing. And when you start with any greenfield product or application, usually it presents you a plethora of technology options. And choosing between them is a very delicate balance, kind of art and science balance between both of them. And at Zimetrics, this is one of the most exciting phases in any program, deciding the best way forward, whether it's in terms of the tech stack, the solution family, and the underlying platform itself. And there are many axes of decision that influence these choices. However, today, let me highlight just some of the key drivers that we use. These are not independent drivers. They must be looked in conjunction for decision making. So namely, time to market, the project scope and complexity, budget and costs, quick team ramp up, and flexibility and scalability as well. Now, when we talk about time to market, a platform like OutSystems makes it possible to leverage the infrastructure to directly start building functionality without having to do the building blocks yourself. And this was a very key element for us in the decision-making process. There are tons of integrations that we can leverage that put you on a fast track. And they allow you to quickly build with smaller teams, with building blocks that exist. And it requires you to focus only on the functional testing and to eliminate any framework, infrastructure, or any of those building block works. It is much easier to iterate very quickly across the workflows. And due to this nature of OutSystem, we were actually able to crash the timelines from months to weeks to build the entire digital platform experience. Yeah. And with coding from scratch as an option, that could have taken us at least 7 months and, give or take 6+ team members. But by choosing a low-code platform like OutSystems, we were able to complete the project in 7 to 8 weeks and about half the team size. The next very crucial axis of decision-making for us was the project scope and complexity itself. When we are building a complex system as this one, there are many sets of interlinked features that require, custom built. And it's the most desired one from the degree of control and flexibility it offers. But at the same time, it can be one of the worst choice on the parameters of cost and timelines. Hence, in this case, it was easy for us to eliminate the option of going with ground up building. And then there were two options left. One is kind of bringing the best of breed applications off the shelf and making them work together, and these could be for solving problems like the e-commerce piece, manufacturing, CRM, etc., and making them work together. Now, figuring out a way to integrate them was the option one. But the option two was to choose a low-code platform route that can allow you to do a significant amount of customizations. And it made a lot of sense to go with low-code because we knew that even taking off-the-shelf products, there is going to be tremendous challenge and flexibility. The ability to build end-to-end workflows is going to be a challenge. But at the same time, we need a degree of customization. And that's where, kind of the project complexity also drives decision going towards low-code. The next was the budget and costs. One of the leading, causes of failure for many digital initiatives is the team complexity itself. The managing dependencies, expectations, complexities across these cross-functional collaborative teams is a very complex program management. And that ends up meeting multiple failure zones along the way. Now, a low-code platform makes it easier by developing or deploying much smaller teams to achieve the same result and increasing the chances of success. A very welcome side effect of going this route is actually it's a low cost upfront rather than investing people, infrastructure, so on and so forth. In building the platform, it puts the business in a much better position as the appetite for expenditure at later stage of once the revenue starts generating is so much easier rather than putting a large bill upfront. And then also the fact that this was going to be a much smaller team, the quick team ramp-ups is a bonus. we were able to significantly accelerate getting the program itself off the ground, keep making iterations very quickly, and getting feedback from the end users and the stakeholders. Last but not the least is the flexibility and the scalability. Now, any enterprise digital application that touches so many functions within an organization, while attempting to provide a seamless user experience, it requires a very agile approach. It is of paramount importance to put incremental functionality in front of stakeholders, get early feedback, do course corrections, validations, and hence the ability to hit the ground quickly, to put the product parts out for inspection very early is the essential component of this successful game. Now, a platform like OutSystems enabled us to do that very quickly. It also allowed us to scale the infrastructure as the user demand increases, which also made a good case for efficiency within the infrastructure utilization from the get-go itself. So, to conclude, these parameters combined together very clearly indicated to us that we need to go with a low-code platform. And OutSystems was a very logical choice for us. Our positive experiences from the past across multiple previous programs was a testament to it. And hence, it was great to see that Proclaim leadership came to the same conclusion post the due diligence phase. And we started down this path with OutSystems, which enabled us to deliver this promise that we started off with. With that said, Scott, I'll bring you in over.
Okay, excellent. That was fantastic. Thank you. I really liked all those access to decision points that you used and how they were really specifically kind of dialed into what Proclaim and Brent and those guys needed. So that was fantastic. One of the taglines that we use here at OutSystems is that your business is unique. Your software should be too. Brent said it himself, and I think that the Zimetrics assessment confirmed that as well. So, I know that while you considered other options, certainly the culmination of all those decision axes led to the conclusion that high performance low code was really the only way to go for this. So that's fantastic. Thanks, Kieran, for that review. All right, Joshua, you're up now. So, we just heard from Brent about the business context and what Proclaim needed and everything. And we heard kind of from Kieran about the decisioning process, about how you kind of guys got here. I think it's going to be great for everybody to hear, exactly what that architecture ended up looking like. We'd love to hear also like about challenges you guys that you faced, level of complexity, workflows, integrations, things like that. So I'll turn it over to you, Joshua.
Thanks, Scott. So now, as we have a better understanding of the Proclaim ecosystem, so here is a high-level overlay of the tech stack used to create a seamless integration between end users and the systems at play. What we see on screen, OutSystems was used to develop the Proclaim Connect and the manufacturing portal, since we have two halves to the system. E-commerce provider Shopify was used for the e-commerce customer store, and AWS was used to store the patient dental scan files. Keeping things brief on this slide, let us now move on to the detailed architecture, where we'll see how the entire ecosystem is integrated using Celigo to provide a smooth experience to end users. Great, we have the architecture here. So let me see the Proclaim Connect portals and the consumer-facing Shopify stores. Next, we have the HubSpot CRM. Third, we have the manufacturing portal. And lastly, we have the product delivery. So I ended up using the Celigo integrations platform. So let's get started. There are two main entry points for the end user, that is the patient, into the Proclaim ecosystem. First, the patient can directly walk into a partner dental clinic, onboard and get scanned. Or secondly, the patient can directly place a paid order on the Shopify store and walk into a clinic basically and get scanned, and the order will be auto-linked to the scans. Let's simplify this process. Proclaim also has a back office, which helps in partner onboarding, locating nearby dental practices in a particular region, and also a super admin view for analytics. The partner locator, which is a crucial part of the back office, is very crucial for the sales team for smooth operations. Let me take an example. Let's consider a patient who has placed a pre-order on Shopify and now is wanting to get scanned. All that the patient has to do is contact Proclaim support and provide the zip code of the area he or she is located in. The dental practice locator is a Google Map view screen highlighting the dental practices around that particular zip code. This is in turn integrated with HubDB, as all the partner and the partner locations data resides in HubDB. Before moving to HubDB, let me speak a bit about the usage of HubSpot in the Proclaim ecosystem. HubSpot is a CRM, which is integrated via APIs with Proclaim Connect and Shopify. All the customer data with respect to the customer profiles, deals, and the whole life cycle of nurturing a lead and converting it into a customer is handled in HubSpot by the sales team. HubSpot is also used to nurture and qualify dental partners before onboarding them to the Proclaim Connect admin. Marketing and sales teams use HubSpot as the primary tool for all kinds of marketing content, LMS content, and event-based email notifications to the end consumers. Now that we have covered the first two parts, let's move on to the manufacturing and EDHR systems. After the patient gets scanned, the patient scan are stored in a secure AWS location, and the patient receives a payment link via email to sales audited in NetSuite, with multiple CAD operators, designers, and quality teams getting involved across various stations like design, 3D printing, flushing, batch processing, review, etc. The Proclaim digital manufacturing system built using OutSystems is essentially the core system to collaborate between various teams involved in the manufacturing process to transform the mouthpiece from a simple scan file to a ready-to-ship mouthpiece. The EDHR system is a FDA-compliant manufacturing control system which maintains a history of all activities on all stations and also provides reports for internal orders. External consumer orders and are manufactured through contract manufacturing with an external vendor. So now we are at a stage where manufacturing is complete and the order. So once we are at that stage, the same is triggered from NetSuite to the third-party logistics provider, who ultimately ships the product to the end customer. At the heart of all of this integration is Celigo, which is an iPaaS service that acts as a communication hub between systems by connecting applications and orchestrating smooth data flow to automate all the business processes involved. About the high-level architecture, systems involved, and the complex system-to-system integration. Now that we've covered the architecture, let us move to the 3D design file inspections in an OutSystems reactive web application. As doctors were uploading scans and creating patient cases, there was a need to view and inspect scans during the patient scan upload process to avoid rescan requests from manufacturing teams. This was indeed a challenging problem to solve. Proclaim recommends industry standard scanners like Itero, 3Shape, Medit, etc., which needed specialized 3D viewers to render STL file which was out of the application boundaries. Hence, incorporating 3D dental scan inspections was the need of the hour to reduce scan rejections. At Zimetrics, we have built a one-of-a-kind Forge component called a 3D STL viewer using vanilla JavaScript and a couple of open source JavaScript libraries. In a way, we were the first client to use our own Forge component in a production-grade application. This inclusion of the component in the Connect portals and the digital manufacturing systems not only helped dentists to visually inspect the patient scans accurately to avoid rescan requests, but also helped design teams detect faults in the scan files before proceeding with the mouthpiece design. With features like auto rotation, zoom in, zoom out, and 360-degree graphical visualization, this component indeed is the best-in-class asset for 3D image inspections. Let's now move on to how we got around a complex GraphQL integration through Shopify. So integrating GraphQL storefront APIs with OutSystems was crucial for creating checkouts and processing payments. Before I dive into the intricacies of how we integrated Shopify storefront GraphQL APIs into this solution, let me speak a little bit about GraphQL and the challenges we faced in integrating it with OutSystems. As we know, GraphQL is a query-based API framework involving a single post endpoint where you query a GraphQL backend server and ask exactly what data you need. At the heart of GraphQL lie three important concepts: queries, mutations, and variables, all of which are in non-JSON format. As of date, OutSystems 11 supports REST and SOAP APIs in JSON format. Hence, integrating Shopify storefront GraphQL APIs was a challenge we needed to solve in a core area during product development. After a significant analysis, we devised a mechanism of converting the entire GraphQL mutation into a very specific JSON format. What we see on screen is an example of a GraphQL mutation. The mutation is a Shopify create cart mutation to create a checkout cart for a user. Let us see how this mutation is now integrated into OutSystems. First, the entire mutation has to be converted into a string. Since the mutation contains a cart input with respect to which product and the quantity, it is essentially an input variable. We need to convert it into the format seen in the example, and that is the second image. Next, the converted query has to be used as the value to the JSON key query in the request payload. Since we have essentially now introduced input variable, we need to include its value in the request payload with the keyword variables. In this way, we have now transformed the GraphQL query into JSON by introducing a key called query, refactoring the input variables to go on as an attribute to the mutation, and successfully integrated it into OutSystems. After hitting the API, it all seems like a smooth REST integration, and we get an output structure, which in turn is used in our server actions as seen in the third image. We can supply the necessary parameters, in this case, the product ID and the quantity. Although we have transformed the GraphQL mutation into a query and a variable approach, the GraphQL server would still treat it as a mutation and execute this without any error. For more, check out my step-by-step article on integrating GraphQL with ease in OutSystems 11. Over to you, Kelly.
Great. Thanks, thanks, Joshua. That is amazing that you guys were just looking at the complexity of the architecture that you guys accomplished. It's amazing you were able to do that as quickly as you did it, especially with that GraphQL complexity thrown in there. You know, as far as I know, complexity and time to market are not typically very compatible. So that's an amazing job. So that we'll go back to Brent. Brent, if you could bring us home and just kind of talk to us about you know, what this solution is meant to proclaim, and it'd be interesting to get your take on like how the solution ended up with. How did that compare with your original vision? Would you do anything differently, and what's next for you?
Thanks, Scott. Well, you know, with OutSystems, we were able to build multiple web and server applications and didn't have to build everything from scratch. This allowed us to focus our time and our money on end user capability and customer experience. And by integrating our applications together, in this case with Celigo, we solved our end-to-end enterprise process workflow and automation needs in a very extensible way. For our company, this meant we not only launched our consumer e-commerce and dental practice portals, but also fully integrated these workflows with our back office digital design, manufacturing, and finance operations for a complete company-wide enterprise solution. Wow,
thanks, Brent. That's it sounds like this engagement, it was definitely a win for Proclaim, and I would say it was a win for all three parties. You know, at OutSystems, we love to see our customers really successful. Again, we appreciate you, and we love to see our customers successful with our partners like Zimetrics. So With that, I think we'll wrap it up. On behalf of Zimetrics, Proclaim, and OutSystems, we'd like to thank everybody for tuning in. And again, we hope this helps you in your journey to either build enterprise scale applications with power, security, agility, speed, and scalability. So thank you very much.